communities where they practice medicine. Doctors have families, friends, and relationships, while the latest in healthcare and the most current treatments for ailments will be topics on this Doctors Are People Too radio TV show. The focus will be in learning more about the interesting aspects in a physician's life and what they do away from the doctor's office or operating room table.
Hello, South Florida, and welcome. South Florida and beyond, and globally on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome to Doctors Are People Too. My name is David Dipino, and it's hard to believe because it happened so quick, but this is my fourth show. Last week we had neuropsychologist and licensed psychologist Dr. Courtney Spilker on from the Palm Beach Neuroscience Institute and Tenet Florida Physician Services. And tonight we're going to have Dr. Stephen C. Cohen, a retired hematologist and oncologist who's now practicing internal medicine and volunteering at the CARA Center in Boynton Beach, doing challenging but rewarding work as a volunteer doctor providing free health care to uninsured patients from western Palm Beach County area, but all over Palm Beach County. I'm going to introduce the doctor in a second there. I just want to give out our number if you want to call in and talk to Dr. Stephen Cohen. He's an expert in internal medicine and hematology and oncology. Our number is 1-888-565-1470. So, but before we introduce the doctor, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is David Dipino. I'm a public relations and multimedia specialist. I do it for a healthcare company here in South Florida, but my passion is writing. I've written for the Sun Sentinel and about 50 newspapers. I'm a native South Floridian. I'm actually from the Jupiter area. So I've written for Sunday editions for the Delray Beach and Boca areas with the Sun Sentinel, like I mentioned, also foreign publishing groups, so Delray Forum and Boca Forum. And like I said, 50 other publications, including the Palm Beach Post, Orlando Sentinel, Baltimore Sun, LA Times. So as you can see, I've spent a lot of time writing, and writing is my passion. I do write for a couple newspapers in the area, the Delray and Boca newspapers, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. They're formerly the Pineapple newspaper group. And I'm the former sports editor of the University Press covering FAU sports, was also on Owl Radio. So go Owls, we're in Boca, so I got to mention that. So again, our number is 1-888-565-1470 AM. Dr. Stephen Cohen, thank you for coming and welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing? Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming along. The first question I always ask physicians, I know you've heard this question probably a million times, is how did you get into medicine? And then if you could elaborate on that, why did you choose hematology and oncology?
Okay, sure. I actually came from a family in which there were a fair number of physicians. My dad was not a physician, but uncles and cousins were. So just early on, I was exposed to kind of the physician's role interacting with patients. And I liked science, and I just kind of drifted in that direction. So it wasn't like a super hardcore, desire to go into medicine, but I was kind of oriented in that direction. And by the time I got to college, I knew I was going to be pre-med.
And you were a biologist. I hear a lot about biology going in. Obviously, into medicine, you have to study a lot of biology. But these are people that are interested in, studying organisms, and I guess in your cancer cells.
Right. So I took pre-medicine courses like, most people do who want to become physicians, and then, medical school, then you do residency, and then you can do a fellowship if you want to do subspecialty training. But yeah, I was always interested in science. Although there's certainly people who go into medicine who've not trained particularly in science, who do, liberal arts or literature or something like that. It's not, as long as you do the basic courses, then you can certainly apply to medical school.
And then before I forget, this is what I was going to ask you before. You're a JD also, Juris Doctorate.
Right.
So you have that degree as well. Can you talk a little bit about why you got that degree?
Okay, so when I finished my cancer training, which was 1986, I started practicing medicine in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. I joined a group in which there were 3 other physicians who were a lot older than me. They had established practices, and when I went to work, I would be seeing maybe 1 patient a day. It was so slow, nobody was referring to me. I got kind of concerned that I wasn't going to build up a practice, and my dad had been a lawyer. I thought, well, maybe I'll go to law school and try to learn something else. So I did go ahead and do that. I actually did it while I was building a practice in medicine when I first started, but I never practiced law. So it's been all medicine since the end of high school, actually. So I have the degree, but it's not being utilized.
This is a very smart man we have in the air, because I've dealt with a lot of physicians, and I always see MD, MBA, but when I saw MD, JD, I was like, well, is that yours, Doc? Let me look that up. So that's pretty neat.
Right.
Very interesting. And now you're practicing internal medicine and volunteering at the CARA Center, which is in Boynton Beach. You're doing challenging but rewarding work as a volunteer doctor, providing free health care to uninsured patients, like I said, from Western Palm Beach County area. Can you tell me how you became involved with the CARA Center?
Well, when I came down to Florida from Pennsylvania, I had kind of given up the practice of medicine, but I wanted to do something to kind of keep my skills up and also to contribute to the community. And I called around a couple different places to sort of, and also some of the township community centers to see if they might be able to utilize my services. The CARA Center was just a perfect fit. They were so happy to have me. They had a physical location that I could go to where patients would come to. They were very flexible, and it turned out that I could, practice there and help people and really have an enjoyable experience. So really, it was just an outreach, and I made some calls and went up there and took a look around, and they were just so happy to have me that I felt great about it. So I've been there ever since.
And it sounds like a great fit. And you came down here originally from the Philadelphia area?
Right, Philadelphia.
And you were a hematologist and oncologist there?
Right, in the suburbs of Philadelphia, Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania.
Very nice. Are you a big Eagles, Phillies, Flyers fan?
I'm okay about it. I'm picking up the Florida teams, and so I'm letting the Eagles go and the Phillies go. They're past history for me, so I'm South Florida all the way.
Thank you, because they've been so tough on us.
Yeah.
The Phillies over the years with the Marlins.
Right.
And the one Monday Night Football game I went to in my life, the Eagles just shredded the Dolphins.
They did, okay.
So that was a few years ago, though. Now, also, the CARA Center is unique because they actually operate free medical and dental clinics. And they provide health insurance services to the uninsured and working poor families of Palm Beach County. Can you tell me a little bit an average day? I mean, I think we talked before, and you said that you go in 8 to 1. But what kind of patients are you seeing? Are you seeing men and women? Are you seeing children and adults? And what kind of care do you provide? I'm
seeing adults, and seeing people who come in with a range of issues, anything from muscle strain to diabetes to high cholesterol, high blood pressure, things that are more typical of an internal medicine practice than perhaps I was used to. I was a little bit more used to breast cancer, Hodgkin's disease. That was my oncology practice outside, in the Philadelphia area. But I do like the internal medicine. I think they do a great job at CARA to really, have wide open doors to people with, pretty much any type of issue, and they work very hard to get the care delivered. I mean, if you think about it, if someone comes in and they have no insurance and can't even get Medicaid, and they need any kind of medicine for high blood pressure or insulin or something for cholesterol, there's no mechanism for them to get these medications. But CARA either, through the pharmacy there getting donated medications, or working with pharmaceutical firms to get donated medications, or working with local radiologists to try to get scans done at greatly discounted rates or for free. There's a lot of work that the CARA administration and volunteers do to make these things happen. And it is a different experience than I was used to. I used to, order a CAT scan or an MRI, and patients could get it done. Here, it can be a big deal to get any kind of scan, and sometimes the price will be negotiated down to a CAT scan that's normally $1,500, they might get the price down to $40 through Carrie Dad making efforts and calls, but then the patient doesn't have the $40. So, but they at the end of the day, they do a really good job of making things happen. They've put people on the case and call around and make things happen. So it's a very impressive group of volunteers.
And these are patients that probably wouldn't be getting care elsewhere. I mean, unless they use the CARA Dad Center.
As far as I can tell, these are patients who are generally they have no means of insurance. They can't get Medicaid. I don't think the Affordable Care Act exactly applies to them. That they're not, they're kind of undocumented, poor who really have had sometimes no medical services in the past whatsoever.
Wow, that's tough. And just I want to give their number out. Their number is 561-737-6336. And then even easier nowadays, www.caradad.org. We're going to take a quick commercial break. On the other side, I'm going to talk to the doctor, kind of a curveball question about what he does to get away from, all the medicine treatments he's provided and care, kind of like the hobbies kind of questions. And then also a little bit why he's doing internal medicine over there at the CARA Dad Center and not hematology oncology, and the way we can help out the CARA Dad Center. So we'll be back in just a few minutes, and stay with us. You can call us at 1-888-565-1470.
The brain is the most complex system in your body. Such complexity demands expertise. Tenet Florida created a network of specialists and hospitals that use advanced technology and understand the value of comprehensive neurological care. The network is committed to providing award-winning care to patients with brain, spine, and nerve conditions. The Advanced Neuroscience Network, the expertise you deserve.
I wasn't feeling right. I think I was running a high fever.
He couldn't breathe.
I was circling the drain.
I told Dr. Leibman, I'll take him anywhere I can get him. Let's just not let him go. Dr. Leibman fought as hard as I did. And the both of us literally each had an ankle and pulled him out of the drain.
They literally saved my life. My wife and Dr. Leibman.
I make a dinner for me and my girlfriend. We ate, we enjoyed. The dinner was very good. She was ready to go to sleep. I said, okay, I'm gonna stay on the couch a little bit to watch TV. I started to feel something in my throat, like I was choking. And all of a sudden I feel the pain, the sharp pain, like somebody put a knife in your back and open and do like this. That was when I called my girlfriend. I said, you have to take me to the hospital. I couldn't die. When they were doing the test, they saw something was weird. My valve was ripped. I said, God, please help me to get out of this. Dr. Valle was on call. He was who performed my surgery. I described like an angel. I described like he was there to do that for me. My girlfriend, my son, he told me when they saw him getting out from the operation room, he was sweating. He was tired to be there for 10 hours. For me, it's unbelievable. I can walk, I can exercise a little bit, and I can drink red wine, that light red wine. Of course, 1 glass or 2 glasses, no more. I see the life different. And I want to see my granddaughter to grow and my son to get old. So I wanna live. I think that God gave me one more chance in life, and I had to take advantage of this.
You are listening to Doctors Are People Too with David Dipino, who shows us the human side of medical doctors in the community. If you have a question for our guest, call into the show at 888-565-1470. Now, let's get back to the fun side of doctors and show that they are people too.
And welcome back to Doctors Are People Too. We're here with Dr. Stephen C. Cohen. He's a hematologist, oncologist, and internal medicine expert. And but before we get back to the doctor, I just want to bring some news that just came across in the press. Boca West Foundation just recently gave $120,000 to CARA Center. So that's huge. We were talking about the CARA Center. It relies a lot on donations and fundraising. They provide free dental and health care to residents of Palm Beach County. They're located in Boynton Beach. And again, it's www.caradad.org, and their number's 561-637-6336. And as I was looking right here, another breaking news story with CARA Center, they received a grant for a melanoma clinic. So that's huge in South Florida, with the sun exposure we have here. And it was just Melanoma Awareness Month in May. We just finished that up. So that's huge as well. Getting back to the doctor, I just want to talk a little bit about why you're specializing in internal medicine there at the CARA Center. And then is there room for growth with hematology and oncology there? And can people, help by fundraising and donating?
Sure. Well, in practice, as an oncologist or cancer specialist in Philadelphia, a lot of what we did was give patients anti-cancer treatments, drugs, medications, chemotherapy drugs. And those are very, very expensive. Most of the patients that I had in practice were insured, or else we could find other ways of funding it. At CARA, which provides so much care to patients, there's really no mechanism to get the chemotherapy drugs paid for. So you can't really practice oncology too much there. I do have some patients on oral medications or generic medications if they maybe have had, certain illnesses that can be treated with medications that are not too expensive. But if they really are sick, somebody, say, with a new diagnosis of a widespread cancer, they may need drugs that are so expensive it's way beyond what CARA can provide. So we'll try and work out something with, practicing on, other oncologists in the area, maybe affiliated with hospitals that have, can get donated drugs or have funds. But CARA is always looking to expand. Certainly there's more help that we could give to patients who have malignancies and blood disorders. But most of what I do is internal medicine because we don't have too much of a mechanism to get the drugs, the costly drugs provided for. But certainly we'd like to expand that at some point in the future.
Nice. So if you're out there in the community and you're listening, please help out the CARA Center. Do your own research and find out caradad.org how you can help out. And I just saw something here. Every dollar donated to CARA saves taxpayers $2.50. So this is huge for our community to get behind. What is the most rewarding thing, in your opinion, all these years of providing health care to people? What's most rewarding, in your opinion, when you provide treatment or help someone out?
I mean, it is very rewarding for a patient to have had things work out well or work out to a level that really makes the patient and their family happy. So it's very reinforcing for me, it has been, to hear from families, hear from patients that things are going well and that they're appreciative. So that's been a big part of why I went into medicine. And I also like the intellectual challenge of the biology related to medical care and cancer care. It's always been very interesting to me and very rewarding.
And that's interesting that you said intellectually, because that was my next question. You enjoy reading a lot, but also keeping up reading about the current trends in medicine as well, correct?
Right, yeah. I mean, I have an active Florida license, and I keep up with, medicine and internal medicine, and certainly my previous specialty of hematology oncology, so absolutely.
And do you enjoy reading other things outside of medicine? Do you have a favorite author, favorite kind of subject matter?
I read, I've, read World War II stuff, Herman Wouk, and, Churchill, the story of his life and his memoirs. So I like to read a lot of different things. And I'll read mystery novels, Nelson DeMille, and I'll read almost anything. Read the paper, do the crossword, and play a bit of golf. There's ways to spend your time that are a lot of fun in South Florida. We really like it down here a lot.
Right is my next question. What do you have a favorite track here in South Florida? I mean, I'm a golfer, so I have my favorite golf course. But what's yours in South Florida?
I mean, I like the Boca Resort courses, and I'll leave it at that for now. I don't want to not name anyone. So they're all great. They're all great.
What's your favorite club in the bag?
My favorite club. 4-iron.
4-iron, really?
4-iron. I can hit. Huh. I can actually hit that. I'm not a great golfer. I enjoy it tremendously, considering how not good I am. But 4-iron is my club.
Nice. A lot of people say 7-iron, and I always think
nice
of Tin Cup because he trashed his bag, and then he had to use a 7-iron for driving, chipping, and putting.
Oh wow!
Because you can putt with a 7-iron. I guess it's flat enough. Yeah. My favorite is the PGA National courses. I kind of grew up there, so I really was gung ho about asking that question. What's the longest putt you ever sank? We're in the golf capital of the world here, so this is interesting.
I've had maybe 1 or 2 putts 60 feet, and then about 2 years ago, on a par 5, I hit it in from about 120 yards out. So that was I didn't see it go in because it went over a hill and it just rolled and dropped in the cup. I've never had a hole in one. I'm not sure I'm destined to it with my level of skill or lack of skill, but there's some that I remember.
And was that an eagle?
It was not an eagle. It actually was a par because it took me 4 strokes to get anywhere near the green. So
that was the longest par ever.
I parred out with it. Yeah, it was a chip yeah.
Do you have a favorite golfer that you watch or follow?
I'll just watch any game that's on for a while, just to watch their swing and their backswing, and see if I can pick up some clues about how to maybe make my game a little bit better.
Boy, with Tiger out of the right now, it's like up for anyone's grabs. It's really competitive.
New generation, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I was watching the Memorial today, actually, so when I was supposed to be working, but that's all right. I just checked in for a minute. Let's talk a little bit more about the CARA Center. With 88 cents of every dollar going directly to funding the programs, CARA serves almost 25,000 patient visits. That's annually, and it's about 6,000 unduplicated patients. Are these children, adults? I think I asked that earlier, but is there an age range that people should know about?
I'm not sure how, what days and when the pediatric patients are being treated. So I'm seeing adults, on the when I'm there. But you'd have to ask,
But there's a pediatrician and all the way up to, I guess, geriatrics that age.
Right.
That's what I was kind of getting at there. This is kind of a complex question that I came up with this morning. Why do we have cancer? I mean, why is it something that, attacks, I guess, humans and animals?
Sure. I mean, every cancer occurs because of a mutation in the genes of probably a single cell. And that mutation or that change in the DNA has either occurred because of a hereditary basis or because of random errors that sometimes occur as cells duplicate themselves, or as a result of injury due to something like cigarette toxins or maybe, or certain organic solvents. So we have cancer because of the susceptibility of DNA and cells to be injured. Sometimes the injury is so bad that it kills a cell, but other times the injury is less bad and the cell just starts to divide abnormally fast. And I think that the mechanisms that go into understanding why cancer occurs are being, even though there's not a magic bullet, I want to say that very clearly, but I think the mechanisms that go into creating a cancer cell are being steadily much better understood than they were, say, even 5 or 10 years ago.
So these are mutations and changes, and I just want to ask also, how important is change in life, change in health, change in cells, changes are they good or bad in life? I kind of like, why is change important? You just had a big change in your life, so.
Right. I mean, I'm not sure that, change of status, work status or where one resides is going to be necessarily bad, but certainly change that injures cells, exposure to radioactivity or certain toxins can that change in an individual cell can turn that cell into a bad actor.
Oh wow, okay. And we have about another minute, so I'm just gonna wrap up with maybe one last 2 questions. And you've had an important change recently in life. You retired from active practice at your wife's request, and
right.
You're working all the time. Why was this such a difficult decision? I guess we have a couple of 15 seconds.
I was used to working hard and I enjoyed it. I got reward from it, but being retired, or at least doing fun things, easy things, has been a lot of fun. But I do enjoy my CARA Dad experience too.
Well, thank you for coming to South Florida. And volunteering everything you do. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we can get the word out in the CARA Dad Center.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And stay tuned next week. We will have another great physician in the area on Doctors Are People Too, and kind of let you find out what they do for, to provide care and outside of care. I always like to ask that curveball question. So thanks again.
Thank you for listening and watching Doctors Are People Too with David Dipino. Join us next week for more in-depth views on what doctors are all about and how they spend their free time. All shows can be seen on amp2.tv. And if you have questions you want answered on the air, call 866-224-5422 and leave a message that can be read on the air. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers.